Yes, what is up, everybody? It is Rated M for Podcast, episode 20. Today is Sunday. Always got to look, August 3rd. I'm your host, Drew Freeman, so they say. Got a kick-ass episode ahead of you tonight, and we are joined, as usual, by Rory Wood.
Raymond!
Who's attracted to a young man named Raymond, apparently. Which is not his name. You're saying it wrong. It's Ramon.
Wait, let me redo that.
You always do this.
Ramon.
That's better. In no way less creepy. His name is Ramon.
Shit.
There's no Y in his name. There's no I in his name. Guacamole. Yeah.
Guacamole. I am the butcher of words.
I'm the butcher. All right, so joining Rory, who's infatuated with one of our listeners, apparently, is Sean Messler. What's up, Sean?
Hello.
Hey.
Nothing much. We just came off of our Titanfall semifinal win. Now we're going to the finals.
You feeling better now? I think last time you played Titanfall, you were a little upset.
I was very upset.
Is this better?
This was a little better.
All right, and then chuckling in the background is the ringer from the Titanfall team, apparently. Esteban?
Yeah, what's up, guys?
Esteban! Esteban is coming to us from inside a Costco pizza box, apparently.
Yes.
That's why he sounds like that. It's totally normal. It's not weird.
That's actually how his voice sounds.
That's literally what he sounds like.
You know what's funny? Because I only hear him between the Kinect and now this headset. I'm pretty sure that is how he sounds.
Probably. He's in a glass case of emotion.
Luke.
That's probably why he's so good at the game. He's just a fucking robot.
Well, what we don't know is that Esteban is actually Bubble Boy, and so whenever we hear from him, it's just through his bubble. Fucking. But that's why he's so damn good at Titanfall, because he lives in a fucking bubble, and that's why he likes Costco pizza, because it's the only thing that'll feed him in his bubble. I think we figured you out, Esteban.
Oh, shit.
Oh, shit. Time to move.
Time to roll.
Well, everybody, this is a slightly special occasion, I guess. 20 episodes is pretty fucking rad. And we're going to be giving away a gift, a prize, a present to a lucky person at the end of the show. So stick around for that. If you're listening to us for the first time, this is Rated M for Podcast, a video game podcast. We broadcast live on Twitch every Sunday night at 8 p.m. Eastern at twitch.tv/ratedm4podcast. If you are catching this from somewhere else in the world and it's not live, hopefully you can check us out on YouTube at youtube.com/ratedm4podcast, or you can check us out on iTunes. I believe we're also on Podbean and like all the different. I listen to us on Pocket Casts while I masturbate and cry in the shower.
What?
I mean, it's an exclusive thing that I do
TMI.
once a week. Okay, all right. I don't cry. That's afterwards. So, anyways, we got a pretty cool show tonight. We're going to talk about some news. We're going to talk about Gamescom is apparently next week, and I just found that out like 10 minutes ago. So we're going to talk about that, and then we're going to wrap the show up with a little question interactive thing about why we play video games, why we love them so damn much, and that'll be your chance to win a copy of Just Cause 2 on Steam for free, for frizzle, for free 99. So we're going to kick it off like we always do with what you're playing, and why don't we let our special guest, our bubble boy, our best friend, go first. Esteban, what you playing, dude?
Well, today I just finished playing Titanfall, the league match, but since Tuesday I've just been playing The Last of Us Remastered.
Okay. That's a pretty hot topic. I know we're going to get into that, but real quick off the cuff, how do you feel about it? How does it make you feel?
It's the same game as the PS3 version, which is I think one of the best games of the last generation, and the PS4 version is just improved graphics and everything, so it's pretty good.
So it doesn't all of a sudden suck?
No.
Well, that's good. I'm glad to hear that. You know, I think I don't think that was actually a risk to run, but it's just good to hear that that's not the case. You are into the multiplayer of The Last of Us. I know that from your posts on the Facebooks that I look at.
Mm-hmm.
So have you had a chance to jump into that yet? I did see on Twitter a few people saying that a lot more people are playing the multiplayer this time around. Is that something you've noticed?
Well, I haven't played it yet, mostly because Sean's been playing the single player.
Have you been waiting for him?
Yeah, I've been waiting for Sean or somebody else.
You need a team.
I don't like. Yeah, I don't like. Yeah, Last of Us, you really need a team. Like, you need to coordinate together, or else you're just gonna get on to be like go Rambo.
Mm-hmm.
But I heard there was a lot of issues when the game launched. People were having trouble finding people, so I just stick to the single player.
Huh. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, was my intelligence incorrect then? Are you not really skilled in the ways of the Last of Us multiplayer, or is that something you plan on doing now that it's on the PS4? You haven't done that before, or what?
Oh, no, I've done it before. I played a lot on the PS3, over 40 hours, but I just haven't had a team to play with on the PS4 version.
Okay. Yeah. Cool. All right, so Rory. Hi. How's it going?
Yo!
Hey, buddy.
Played a little Forza 5 with some of the guys from Rated M.
Would that be Ramon?
Ramon was there, and...
oh, man. Who was the other guy? Shit.
Mike.
Oh, we suck.
We
totally suck.
We suck.
We had a fourth guy with us, and he was awesome.
Yeah. So if you're listening, I don't think you are right now, but you were rad. Had a good time. Played some matches, gave away some prizes, and then I played a little bit of The Last of Us remastered at a buddy's house. Just a little bit of it, though, because I was on my way to Guardians of the Galaxy, which I might touch on a little bit later.
Oh,
Loved
we could
it.
touch that all night.
Loved it.
I just came from that.
But yeah, played a little bit of The Last of Us, and yeah, you know, Esteban said it. It's the same game, slightly improved visuals. Fantastic game, one of the best games of last generation. I agree with that, and I enjoyed it. I didn't play enough to really get immerse myself in the 60 frames per second. Like, I'm one of those guys that sort of enjoys his survival horrors and his adventure games and things like that at 30 frames locked, as opposed to 60 frames. And I like my simulation racers and shooters and fighters, etc. It's at 60 frames. And I actually preferred, from what little I played, I actually preferred playing remastered at 30 frames per second. But that's not something that, like, to speak down or badly about the 60 frames, because I thought it looked really good and crisp. I just prefer my slower paced third person sort of games like that
slower.
At 30 frames.
I want it like 15.
Oh,
I want like when I play a horror game, you know, this is a bit, I mean, as a joke, yeah, but you know, for real though, like horror movies and scary things, you know, the less detail and the less clarity, the better. In my opinion, you know, like when you watch a horror movie and it's in like super HD and everything's super crisp and the lighting is like super bright and stuff, you're like, I kind of wish this was a little blurrier and I didn't know exactly what that creepy looking alien looked like. You know what I mean?
To me, The Last of Us, like when I was playing at 60 frames, it looked a little too close to what like TV looks like when you're watching it on a TV and you have your hertz cranked
that
to
scan,
like
that weird scan
above, where
thing.
It's adding artificial frames in between, and everything's like super smooth. It just like it's weird to me to watch TV and movies and stuff like that. I want to see that closer to 24 frames for my video and stuff, like my TV. And the games, I really like those at 30 frames.
I want to play.
It did look nice in 60 frames, just too smooth, too crisp, too. I know that sounds like a ridiculous fucking complaint.
Yeah, you
are.
I agree.
You're correct. You are absolutely correct.
It does sound ridiculous.
But I prefer the more cinematic vibe to it at the 30 frames per second, and that's why I like to play those third-person games like that at 30. It's just a slightly more cinematic display, in my opinion. So that's why I prefer it.
Sure. All right, so Sean, you want to share?
And round 3, The Last of Us Remastered.
What?
Ding, 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 ding.
I completely disagree, but I think the problem is, and I had this at first, is when you first start it, it's jarring to go to know that it was 30 frames per second. You spent like 12 hours with it, so your brain kind of has like if you played it more than once, like me especially,
you have
expectations. Your brain kind of has set it up that you know how it's supposed to look, and then you see it in 60 frames per second. It takes a while at first to get used to it, but now I won't even go back to the 30 frames a second. And it makes combat in that game a million times better. Like it's just more smoother animations to shoot and stuff like that. And it's I'm playing on hard, so I don't have like a lot of ammo. So I try to stealth my way through every situation. But when I do shoot, it feels a lot tighter. And it's just a lot smoother. I think it's 60 frames per second is just definitely just a massive improvement for the actual gameplay.
Yeah.
Cinematics, yeah, probably the 60 frames per second. It doesn't feel artificial like what Rory's talking about to me. It's just, you're seeing the actual frames. They're not like tricking you into thinking it's 60 frames per second. You're actually seeing all the frames of animation and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But you get used to it. But man, that fucking game, like I played it 3 times on PS3 and playing again on PS4. I fell in love with it all over again. It's just so like you can skip the story mode and stuff like that. Like, and I did that on the third playthrough. I was just going for like anything hidden that I missed and stuff like that, like collectibles and stuff. So I kind of skipped through it. But sitting here and playing the story again, man, that fucking game is so good. Like. The moment to moment gameplay is fucking tense when you're not when you're playing on a difficulty that's not normal. Normal, it's not that tense because you know you're going to find more bullets a lot.
Is that really where the intense fear or danger really comes from? Is scavenging a survival feel of that game?
Yeah, because especially on the harder difficulties, because you don't have a lot of ammo and you know that you're like, well,
but
I can try to take.
There's no real punishment in death, though, right?
If you run out of shit, yeah, you're gonna die because you're not gonna be able to fucking fight people.
No. I'm saying like All right, so the fear. What I'm saying is like the danger there is scavenging and running out of things and being kind of useless, but the fear of death is not so bad, right? Like most games, if you die, you just try it again. Whereas like in a roguelike or something where if you die, you're fucked. So there is no. Hardcore mode or something like that where if you die you have to start over and all that shit.
No, there's nothing like that because fuck that. And
for real. I don't know if it would fit this game.
Anybody who does that is an idiot. Like that's just bad. That's just not fun. And
but I always try those modes.
The tension comes from trying to like. I don't want to be stuck in a situation. To me, the punishment is having to do something over and over again. I hate repetition like you would not believe. That's why I don't like I'm not a big fan of horde modes. I'm not a big fan of like Left 4 Dead survival mode where you just basically do the same thing over and over just to try to get farther and farther. I like to advance forward, and knowing that there might be a tougher confrontation around the corner that I should probably save what I have. And it makes it tense. And playing on Survivor difficulty, you can't see through walls.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, you don't get your skills and shit.
So you don't have that super hearing or whatever it is.
Hot.
So you have to kind of. It makes it a lot more intense. And Esteban's actually playing it on grounded, which, from what I understand, has no HUD whatsoever.
Esteban, so you got grounded to play this game?
You don't know how many bullets you have. You don't know how much health you have.
Oh, that sounds redonk. That could be fun.
Yeah, last night I was telling Sean earlier. I'm playing on grounded, so yeah, like he said, you need to save your supplies, or else. Happened to me last night. I was stuck in an area for an hour because I had to figure out how to like kill 5 guys with like 2 bullets, and I don't know how much health I had, but if I got hit one time, I got killed, so I had no health. But cool. Yeah, it is brutal on the hardest difficulty.
So everyone's liking it though. Everybody's enjoying Last of Us again. Sounds like so. That's good. I'm glad to hear that. Good game is good. Sweet. I played some Halo. Go figure. I had a Halo game night this weekend. We played Halo 4 for 6.5 hours. That was pretty rad.
Shit.
Yeah, it was pretty nuts. I feel like I played something. Yeah, I played Forza with Rory. I remember that. I played some more Halo Spartan Assault.
Ouch.
My opinion of that game is not as simple as most people's. The more I play it, I do agree that the overall quality of the game is nowhere near what you should expect from a Halo title. However, I think there are parts of the game that are pretty interesting. There's stuff going on in the game that you're like, as a Halo fan, you're like, oh, that's cool, or that's neat, or this is totally different. Like there were moments. I played co-op for the first time on that game, and it's way different than. It's not just the story of the game. It's like special setup areas that involve the Flood, which I didn't even know was in Spartan Assault. I don't know. It's not terrible. It's just not great. So,
is that game like canon?
It is. So the setup for Spartan Assault is Commander Palmer, or I think she's a commander. Anyway, Sarah Palmer, who is the female Spartan 4, like the leader of the Spartan 4s in Halo 4. These are like exploits of her past. These are things that she did with some other Spartan, and you're playing through them as like training things. It's like a training environment for Spartan 4. So you, the player, are technically a random Spartan 4, and you're playing through stories that took place in the past, like campaigns, like battles. You know what I mean? It's like,
oh, so it's like a simulation.
Yeah, it's like, this is the battle of blah blah blah. You know what I mean? And you can go through. So it's set up in the canon that way. So it's telling stories, and it's also a like training simulation. So there's you can do things to fuck with it. Like you can say, well, what if she had a Spartan laser at the beginning of this battle or whatever, and do that stuff. But it's not great. It's not great. So thanks for sharing, guys. And why don't we move on to news a little bit? Sean, I'm gonna let you kind of kick the news stuff off with our lovely buddies over at Crytek getting back in the news again. They're just Homefront's been talked about a lot, right? That's because it's just going to be a great game, isn't that? That's why, right?
I hope. So basically, we talked about it a couple weeks ago about Crytek having financial troubles. And now Deep Silver, who was going to publish Homefront, they bought it outright, and they're going to finish it. They created a whole new studio for it. The scuttlebutt that I read was that some of those people are Crytek people from the UK that left Crytek UK and went there. So basically it's still going to be developed by Crytek, just under a different name, and with hopefully better management. So yeah, Homefront is a thing. Deep Silver believes in it, which is good. And
do you think that Deep Silver believes in Homefront, or believes in the people who are kind of caught in the crossfire trying to make Homefront?
I think they believe in Homefront. I think that they're a business, and they're not going to sit there and be like, if they look at what the game is, and they don't think that they can sell a good game out of it, or even a decent game out of it, they're not gonna do it. Like, they bought Volition so they could have the studio, and this is the thing, Deep Silver can buy a studio. Because they're by the Koch brothers, so they're owned by the Koch brothers, so they can buy Crytek if they wanted. They just didn't want Crytek. They wanted the studio. I mean, they wanted the game, the IP, and they probably, I don't know if they headhunted or if they just put out a feeler and say, hey, we're picking this up. Do you want to come over with us and finish
And it's
it?
not confirmed that this Damnbreaker Studios is full of people from Crytek, but that's what everybody's supposing, and I don't think that's hard to draw those connections since it's still in the same town.
Yeah, it's especially if it's in the same town
as Crytek UK.
They're going to basically start. They bought the IP and they're going to start working on it right away. So it's probably is that simple. Like, it is them taking people from over there, because now they have nothing to work on. You know what I mean? That studio has literally nothing to work on if they sold the one thing that they were working on.
So it sounds like the main issue over at Crytek UK is the leadership, right? Is the people calling the shots at Crytek and UK and Crytek in general. Do you think Deep Silver are now acting as that role for this Damnbreaker Studios, or maybe they put better people in charge of Damnbreaker to make it better than UK, a better experience from a management leadership role? Or just from your perspective, what do you think the setup there is business-wise?
Well, I mean, they already own some studios, so I think I mean, to make it enticing, they had to there has to be some kind of thing. I mean, if I just left a studio that was not paying me,
Yeah.
I would want to make sure, and I'm going to an upstart, I would definitely want to make sure that that's what I'm saying. Like, it just seems like they're putting this together really fast.
Yeah.
So I feel like there must have been some conversations and some reassurance, And Deep Silver, again, owned by the Koch brothers, who are fucking ridiculous billionaires. You know what I mean?
True that.
Deep
Not
Silver
Coke is in
kinda
Coca-Cola, kids. Coke is in
No.
KOCH.
Yes. So and they like, you know what I mean? Like, they bought Volition and
Right.
Saints Row like outright.
Yeah.
So they can.
And Deep Silver also bought Darksiders, correct?
No, that was Nordic Games bought.
Oh, that's
bought
right.
it. But
Okay.
I don't know if you know this, but Nordic also bought the name THQ.
Oh, really?
So yeah, so Darksiders will probably still be a THQ game.
Interesting.
Like, they bought it because they felt like when they bought everything, everyone's like, "Who the fuck's Nordic Games?"
Yeah,
And they
for
said,
real.
"Well, THQ has a name. It's a name.
It's not the best name in the world right now, but yeah.
Yeah, but it'll still be THQ. So THQ will live on in a capacity, in some way or another. So
Interesting. Rory, what's your take on this situation going on with Homefront and with Crytek UK and this new company and all that stuff? Like, do you think this is going in the right direction, or is it going to get worse before it gets better for Crytek? What do you think?
I haven't been reading up on it as much as you guys have. I'm happy that Homefront's going to have a home, and that some people are going to get paid, and that game's going to exist, and it's going to come out, and that work is not going to die. Is it going to get any worse for Crytek? Fuck, man, I don't know. I don't know if it could get any worse, other than them just outright admitting, like, that's it. We're closing doors. It's over.
Yeah.
But if they can sort of refocus with less people, less teams, and start making some good games, and like you say, get better leadership, because every time I hear the top guys at Crytek and even like the leads in the game development on the games, they're just like, all they talk about is pushing hardware and graphics, and they don't really talk about how they're going to make a great new game. So smaller teams, less people, better leadership that will tell them, listen, guys, it's not just about the graphics. We can make the best graphics, but let's focus on some fucking gameplay and make some really good games, and maybe they can pull themselves out of the dark zone here.
I would agree. I think that's what we've all agreed on in the past, kind of as this story has unfolded. We all kind of said, when we heard development on Rise 2 had stopped, we had said, hey, Crytek tends to make really pretty games with not a lot of soul. They make the cliche, bleach blonde cheerleader who has nothing going on between her ears, but a lot going on between her neck and her waist. You know what I mean? Like, there's a lot to look at there. But then when you sit her down and start talking to her, you start getting invested in their games. You're like, I don't really know what to do here. There's not really much else to do in Rise after playing it and taking it in.
So what I'm learning is that Drew is a breast and stomach man.
All right. Well,
doesn't care about the head.
How about neck and knees?
Doesn't care about the ass.
Neck and knees.
Legs.
All right. I retract my previous statement and I say neck and knees. All right?
I'm all about those knee pits.
You can have funky toes. That's cool.
No. No, you can't.
You can't have
really
funky
can't.
toes?
No.
Woo. All right. So.
I'm like Eddie Murphy and Boomerang. If I see that shit, like, ugh.
Yeah, I know what you
I
mean.
don't get the reference.
Yes. Well, Esteban, you don't get references from Indiana Jones either. So let's.
Well, Kingdom of the Crystal Skull, is that the one you're talking about? The best one?
That's the only one he's seen.
That's the only one I've seen.
That motorcycle scene, though. All right. So what else we got? What else we got this week? Rory, you got any news for us?
EA Access for Xbox One.
Oh, sign me up. Where do I go?
Got that dropped on us.
What can I do?
I know a lot of people were kind of like turning their nose up, and maybe it's not going to be for everybody, but for me personally, it looks like a deal I'm probably going to take advantage of pretty early on. So what the idea is you can pay $4.99 a month, or a much better deal and just go for 29 odd bucks plus tax a month. So half price, $2.50 a month if you go, or sorry, $30 a year. I should say that second fact was. I'm mumbling a bit here. So $4.99 a month or $29.99 a year gets you access to Vault games solely on Xbox One, though. So this is just games that are available on Xbox One right now, and it would be like FIFA 14, Madden, Battlefield 4, and Peggle. You get unlimited access to those games. You get 10% off of new digital download games. So when like NHL 15 comes out, I'll save a few bucks on that. And you get 5 days early access to brand new games. So if you're signed up for that service, you're going to get a chance to play Dragon Age or Inquisition days before the game comes out. It might be a short demo, who knows, but you always get it 5 days ahead of time to scope out for yourself. And yeah, $30 a month, $30 a year, $5 a month.
So what entices you specifically? Like, so it sounds like the EA catalog is something that you're interested in.
Well,
I'm curious what part of the catalog gets you.
The price point and like value for my taste and like games that I like to play is well worth it, because I like my sports games, but the only sports game I actively like purchase is the NHL series.
Yeah.
And there's no question I'm buying NHL 15 on next gen, or sorry, current gen now, really, right away. Like me and my friends are dying to get that. I'm gonna pick that up. But
and if you could get FIFA for 10% off, you would consider that, I guess.
Well, no, because what I'll do now is like I don't need to play the newest FIFA and the newest Madden to enjoy those games. I'll just be happy to have those sports games around so that when friends come over, we can play casually some FIFA and some Madden. And that will cost me $250 a month to have unlimited access to Madden 25, FIFA 14, Peggle 2, and Battlefield 4. All those games for $250 a month, games that I'm going to play that I don't need to play on launch day. And then I get my discounts as well. So it pays off for me, like the $30 a month at the end of the day, because I get incredible value out of it because I want to play all those games. And as the Vault, it's like a scalable offer, right? Because the longer this deal goes on with Xbox One, the longer EA is making games for it, the more games will keep getting added into that. So if the price sticks the same, the deal is just going to get better and better and better as well.
So it just works out for me. I would agree that the pricing and the plans generally sound right, and they sound pretty good. I think what's really going to make this like a household name and a thing that people just sign up in droves is once they, what you're saying, like once they clarify, okay, next year, all of the EA titles, all of the EA sports titles that came out this year are going to be the ones that you get, just for free or whatever. You get like access,
just whatever. If it's like a year later, right?
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
Any of the games, like once like Battlefront comes out and whatever else they've got coming, like Dragon Age Inquisition as well. Like if it means that like, if you're one of those guys that doesn't need to play that game like right away and you don't mind waiting because you're behind on other games, and that in like 9 to 12 months down the line, realistically probably 12 months down the line, that game will now be technically in the vault available for like unlimited play as part of the EA access. Like that's awesome. So I think there's a really incredible value in there if they stick to that $30 a month.
I think for
$5 a month, that's still cheap, but not for me. But I would just plop down $30. I keep saying $30 a month, but plop down $30 a year.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't even really notice that, and I would have all these extra games.
For the people I think there's a large number of people in the world that go get the EA, the FIFA, and whatever other sports game that come out the year after, because they're super cheap at GameStop, when you get them for used or whatever. And I think this is going to snatch those people up very quickly. And I think when you look at the amount of sales that games like Madden and especially FIFA worldwide do, then that itself makes it a profitable deal for EA specifically. And I think it also could be a really good deal for the Xbox One. If Sony sticks to their guns and says, nope, we're not doing this EA access thing because we don't think it's a value for you, and so we're going to keep it away from you, I think it makes it a selling point for the Xbox One in a way. And
we all know that's bullshit, right?
Someone's unwrapping their Christmas present in the background, just letting you know.
We all know Sony is full of shit, right?
Well, yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
It's PR talk. That was totally
Sony's
PR
full
talk.
of shit in what regard?
So their statement of Sony stated that EA Access did not look. They turned it down, and they said, it's not a value for their customers. Well, that's
because they want you on PSN now, and
it's just a PR speak thing. So what I'm hoping for is that the next Titanfall takes advantage of this situation. And like, if you look at Titanfall 2 coming out next year or in a couple years, and you look at Battlefront and whatever other Disney, Star Wars, EA title comes out, and you can get all those games for 10% off on Xbox One day one. Also, you can get them 5 days early. just for spending $30 a year on this access thing. Also, you get all the like older, like you get Need for Speed in this. You know what I mean? Like getting Need for Speed, whatever it's called. I don't remember.
To clarify there, though, Drew, you don't get the game 5 days early. What you get is sort of access to like a small chunk of the game. Like you get access basically like to a demo.
So they've stated that it's a demo essentially, or like
essentially,
early access
yeah,
to
like
taste of it.
Exactly, that little taste will always come out 5 days early. So you have those 5 days to try it out. But it's going to be dependent on the game, like whether it's like a 2-hour chunk, maybe a little bit more, or maybe even a little bit less. You don't quite know, right?
Okay.
But that's like a guaranteed thing, so you only get that. Like you wouldn't be able to try out that demo or whatever beforehand without it either. So that's what that is. Like, you don't get full access 5 days early. So your saves, whatever happens in that demo though that you play, does transfer over to your game if you buy it.
Esteban, what's your take on all this? Is this something that you're interested in?
No. Like I know it's a good deal for people who are fans of EA games, but the only EA game that I'm really looking forward to is probably Titanfall 2 and the Star Wars games. So yeah, I'm not. The EA access is not for me.
Mirror's Edge and Mass Effect and anything else from BioWare, they have an unannounced project coming. None of that. That's not down your alley, I guess.
Yeah, I'm excited for those games, but I'd rather I get my games physical.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, the thing for me, I can't deny that there's a definite value there for people who like EA games, and I like some EA games. I'm not going to sit here and bash EA because they make some great games. If this would have been back when like they were putting out shit like Skate and Dead Space and Mirror's
Skate
Edge,
was awesome, man. Yeah,
on a constant.
Yeah, I miss
then
Skate.
This would be way more. But they've kind of scaled back on taking those risks. So for me, I can think of 4 games that have been announced, and they're not going to all come out next year.
Yeah.
So the math doesn't add up for me, because I'll never play Madden, I'll never play FIFA, I'll never play NHL, I'll never play Peggle. So to me, or Battlefield. So if I buy the 4 games, with the math, I wind up spending actually more than if I would have just buy the 4 of those games without the 10% discount.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Like I will have spent like anywhere, depending on tax or not, anywhere from $26 to $16 more than if I would have just bought each of those games individually. So
yeah, sorry, Sean, I didn't mean to interrupt. Go on.
No, it's totally fine. It's just that part of it. To me, the math doesn't add up. To go, okay, well, this is a value. I get why it's a value. My problem with this whole thing, though, really is. The way I see it is that the reason why EA is doing this is to combat the used game thing. They know they got slammed for their online passes, which, for the record, I never had a problem with online passes. They made complete sense to me that if you bought a game used, they were selling you the online access for $10 because they wanted to make money off of the used games. That makes sense to me. I totally get it, and I never used it, but I got why it existed, and I didn't complain about it. But they got slammed for that. Then the whole thing with the Xbox One thing happened, and a lot of people pointed fingers at EA for that because they've talked about it and they've done things about trying to, stifle the used game market. So this to me is their way of like, okay, well, Battlefield isn't selling new as much anymore. So how do we keep making money off of this and keep the money from going to GameStop? So they put it in this program, and it makes sense for them. And then the good thing is that, say Rory says, okay, I'm signed up, I have Battlefield 4, I like this, I'm going to buy the DLC. So he has the DLC that he could pay for, gets 10% off of it, and then winds up using it for the Battlefield that he downloaded that is part of the subscription service. So that part of it makes sense. But the problem is that I like the fact that the used game market exists. I don't want it to go away, and I don't want, that's what scares me about this, because here's the thing. The fact that the used game market exists, and this is something people don't think about, is that's what keeps the price at $60. I know they think if used games go away, games will get cheaper, but they won't. And the reason why they keep the price at $60 is because they know they have to compete with the used game market. If they didn't have to compete with the used game market, these prices would go up.
So my question to everybody on the podcast would be, do we feel like this is the first step? This PS Now, all this stuff. Do we feel like this is the first step to having more than one way to purchase digital content on a console?
Yeah.
So then my question would be, do you see Steam sale prices coming in the future? So one of the reasons I feel like people think that it's bullshit that digital content on an Xbox Live is not cheaper, and it's like, well, what do you expect? And they're like, the argument is, well, look at Steam and Steam sales. Yeah, but Steam is competing against other people who can play video games on a PC from other vendors. Xbox, you can't buy a digital Xbox game on it like a so the other sorry, I'm just like jumping around here, but the other argument is, we'll look at PlayStation Now or PlayStation Plus. Yeah, PlayStation Plus is a great deal for PlayStation owners, but you can't buy an Xbox game on PlayStation. Like, you're buying an Xbox game through your Xbox. That's why it costs X amount of money, because you can't. There's no competition there. But if EA
it's a closed platform.
Right. If EA or some other, if Microsoft starts allowing people to kind of price their products differently through different avenues of purchase on their console, then now you're going to see stuff like Steam sales from Xbox. So you go to Xbox.com or the Xbox Marketplace, as opposed to using your EA Access subscription or something like that to get the cheapest version or the best deal or whatever you want to call it. I think this is a step in that direction. And I was curious, Rory, do you feel like this is something that we're going to see figured out soon, or is this like an experiment and they're going to learn from it and other people are going to try to learn from whatever happens with EA? Like, do you see Ubisoft learning from this, or do you see Activision doing their thing?
I think they're all going to be looking at what's going to happen with this. Like, all the other publishers, I think, will be watching what EA is doing and whether or not this works. And if it does work, I think it's smart of other people to get behind it. Like, I'm one of those guys where it's like, I used to trade in a lot of games, and I get where people are coming from. You know, Sean was saying that he likes to trade in his games and have the physical. Like, I get that. I did that a ton last generation, where I would buy a new game at launch, and then I would turn around and just sell it to a buddy. I would very rarely take it back to the game shop because it just wasn't a good deal. So I would just hook it up to a buddy, and he would pay $40 or something like that, and then I would put that money towards the next game. But this generation, I've gone all digital, and almost all digital anyway. I've got 3 physical games, and that's it. Everything else is digital so far.
Uh-huh.
And I'm ready to move into that digital thing. I don't mind really not having my physical copies, because I like to be able to like quick swap. I like the convenience of them all being on there, and I'm willing to sort of give that up just with my games. Not everything. I like to be able to buy shit and sell it, but I think it's inevitable. I think at some point Microsoft and Sony and everybody else that's got these consoles are going to, at some point, get closer to a Steam model in the online marketplace.
So, my question, I have a question for Esteban. You see what's going on here, and we've kind of seen through a bit of a telescope into the future with concepts of always on and what Steam's doing and different ways to get different deals through different publishers and through different venues and these humble bundles and all this stuff. Do you see this kind of laying the groundwork for 2 open consoles, or do you think that it would be best for everyone involved to, let's say you have digital services in general as a gamer, where you get the Xbox service, you get the EA service, you get the PlayStation service, and you have some way to digitally play this game with your controller or whatever hardware you have after this generation kind of winds up or transfers into the future. Do you see it as being like an all digital thing and having different services, or do you see that there's just too much demand for a physical box and we're always going to have Xbox games and Xbox copies of EA games and Xbox copies of PlayStation copies of Square Enix games and stuff like that? What do you think?
I think we'll still have both in the future, but like the inside gaming guys say, they always say that gaming is going to go to the way of a service, where you'll just be able to buy a box, and then you'll just be able to get Activision games on there and EA games on there just for a subscription fee, sort of like Netflix, or you stream everything. So I think that's where it's going. I think it's going to be physical and digital and streaming all at the same time.
Okay. What about you, Sean? What's your prediction of the future of this where we're headed based on what you see now?
I see ISPs getting very, very rich. That's what I see. Like that's all I see on this. Like I don't think this is a good deal. Like this is I wrote an editorial for We the Nerdy talking about how I don't think this is a good deal for gamers. It like you think about, yeah, it's convenient and stuff like that, but here's the thing. The reason why data caps exist is because they can, and because a lot of people are cutting off the cord to cable and using streaming services to get their content.
Right.
Now, they have to offset those costs somehow, so they're like, oh, so they look at the numbers, they go, our customers are streaming X amount of Netflix, and it's coming over this data cap. So we're going to cap them, so if they go over, we can make more money. And at the end of the day, if your games are now 50 gigs.
Yep.
The Last of Us isn't even the prettiest game on PS4, and it's 50 gigs.
Yep.
You got Killzone was 40 gigs. Like these games are huge, and without that disc having to kind of squeeze it into that space of a disc, and they can download. I just read an article about how Killzone was almost 180 gigs. They had to compress it down. And downloading 50 gigs, like if you're looking at the month of October and you want all those games, you're downloading like 400 gigs of games.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And the cap is, if you're an AT&T customer, your cap's 150 for the first tier, 250 for the second tier. You just went over and you just spent way more on those games than you would have.
I don't understand why people subscribe to internet with caps, man. Like, I don't have a cap. Why would I ever think that subscribing to an internet with a cap would be
I don't know
like
how it is up in Canada, but in
Yeah.
America, there
are companies with monopolies. Yeah.
They have an area on lockdown, so I don't have any options. I live
in between Baltimore and Washington, D.C. You'd think that I would have my choice of whatever internet I ever want to have, right? I mean, this is a metropolitan area. It's the heart of the country. I mean, I should have everything, right? So I used to live on base. I used to live on Fort Meade, it's like right down the road. To get internet on Fort Meade, you have to use Comcast. Like Fort Meade itself has a deal with Comcast that Comcast is the only cable internet on Fort Meade. I live in an apartment complex that has a deal with Comcast because this apartment complex is only like 5 years old and they signed like a 6-year lease or whatever with Comcast to provide internet. So I can't get Fios even if I wanted to. Even if I just threw tons of money at Verizon, like, please give me Fios, they won't give it to me because they can't. So it's hypothetically, yeah, why would you ever pick something that is better, like worse for you? But most people are stuck, you know?
I didn't realize that. I didn't think you'd, like, with internet, you could be like, nope, you have to get this, and this is what we're saying.
Yeah.
Like, even though other people offer subscriptions without
it boils down to not every ISP, and not every, even if you want to talk about cell phone stuff, it's the same way. You know, not every ISP and every cell phone provider has the same amount of coverage, the same amount of service everywhere. I think everyone in America is just, well, everyone who knows about it, which is sadly a very small informed group who's screaming at the top of their lungs, are dying for Google Fiber. And there's like 3 cities in the whole freaking country that has Google Fiber. But Google Fiber is like the best deal out there. It's like if you had to choose between any internet deal on the planet, you would choose Google Fiber, but you just can't. You don't have, unless you live in Kansas City, Kansas and Missouri. If you live in Austin, Texas, or if you live in, there's a place out in places that I can't talk about that also have it. And like until they expand, until they get to set the infrastructure, we're stuck. We're stuck under this. You know, you can only use these people for internet, and so that's why you get situations like this. But I agree with Sean that ultimately, no matter what these people do, no matter what Microsoft or Sony or anybody does, we're all pigeonholed by the bottleneck that is the people that provide us the access to these services. So I think it's in Microsoft, Sony, EA, all of them. It's in the entire gaming industry's best interest to really try to get involved with lobbying with these companies and try to get the shit, nailed down. I think Netflix has started to slowly fight back against this Comcast situation. Is it Comcast about Time Warner, or Time Warner bought Comcast, or who bought who?
Comcast bought Time Warner, and that has me shitting bricks.
Oh yeah, for real. It's
like,
so
like, you know what I mean? Like, I as somebody who like here's the thing. Like, I'm not one of those people who just goes, oh, I want physical because of just reason number one. I have a litany of reasons why I want physical to maintain and keep going, and one of them is that, and all of it has to do with the fact that I don't want to spend more money, and I shouldn't be locked out of my hobby that I love because I can't afford it, because they've made it so that I can't afford it. You know what I mean? With ISPs or no physical copies or you know what I mean? Like, these are all the things that affect, and this is the thing that I don't think people who champion this all digital future don't think about the big picture and how it is going to affect them in the long run. ISPs don't like you. They're not your friend. They're a business, and they want to make money. And the more people are using the data and downloading data and consuming data, they're going to put you through the ringer for it and charge you more money.
And see, I think the ISPs that we have in place in North America specifically, they have this death grip on the nation's internet because they were these massive companies in the 90s, and they all kind of merged together, and they got this infrastructure in place. And now you have a company like Google who's like, all right, so we believe in free internet, we believe in like strong internet infrastructure, not this like stupid I own cable companies, and I own cable distribution platforms and television channels and networks and stuff like that, so it's in my best interest to make sure that people stay on cable and watch TV and have the triple package of the fucking wall telephone and a cable box and a modem in their house. Like, Google's like, hey, the internet, guys, have you heard of it? Like, you can just use it for everything, and who gives a fuck about NBC? You know what I mean? Like, it's cool to see that, but they're really climbing up a massive mountain that's already been put in place in front of them.
I have a question for Rory. Rory,
I'll start listening. Yes.
Do you know how good Google Fiber is? Do you know what the speeds are on Google Fiber?
No, I couldn't tell you much about that stuff.
True, you want to tell them?
It's 100 megabytes. 100.
100 down?
100. Standard.
Jesus.
Nice.
And then,
That's
like,
intense.
if you want,
they have 1 gig up.
Yeah, No, I think it's, maybe I'm saying
it's 1 gig down.
Yeah, it's 1 gig down. Yeah, all right. So that's 1,000. That's 1,000 megabytes. Sorry, not 100. It's 1,000.
A gig
1,000
down.
megabytes.
1,000.
So that means, okay, so you have a game. If you have a 1 gig down and you're downloading a 50 gig game, you download that in 5 minutes.
Yeah. And so the thing that they're trying to do, though, is fight the power, so to speak, and get this infrastructure in place. But Google is only using this as, I mean, they're not putting like their whole weight behind it. It's not like Google is stopping everything and saying, we're going to fix the internet problem in America. But this section...
5 seconds, I mean, sorry.
Yeah, it's all right. It's okay. We're not doing math on the fly here. That's just ridiculous. But what I think is interesting is you have this situation going on, and when I heard of Always On, and when I heard about what Microsoft was trying to do with the Xbox, I was for it. But I agree that what they're trying to do is not possible. And like, it's possible, but only for a very small group of people compared to the larger, American and worldwide setup. I mean, we're complaining about our like 30 and 40 down and stuff like that, where Abdallah, one of our buddies, one of our listeners, lives in freaking Tanzania, and he's a huge gamer and he loves playing games. But I mean, that guy he's got a lot of struggle there. So I mean, it as much as we'd like to be on the cutting edge and have this new box that could do all this stuff and have all these services from EA and Sony and all this stuff, it's so bleeding edge that you can't make it the norm. You can't make it the standard. But I'm hoping that we're going in that direction. And what I personally hope, just to wrap this talk up, is I hope that companies like Microsoft, EA, Sony, and all them kind of band together and form maybe a games litigation or something that can start to really put money and resources behind improving the world's internet. Like they need to. This needs to be a thing that they need to push towards if that's what they want to do. You know, if you feel like if Microsoft feels digital platform and a digital distribution system is the future for them, then they need to put their money where their mouth is and really invest in creating a better infrastructure for the world, or at least for America, since, you know, I don't know how much their strength can go outside of here.
It's their biggest market too, and that's the thing when they announced Xbox One, where it was like, I was for a lot of the new ideas that they had with the original vision of Xbox One, other than like the 24-hour check-in type shit. Like that was bullshit, but it was a lot of stuff that I was like really kind of like, all right, I'm ready for this digital future, but I get that I'm probably in the minority there. Like there's so many people, like you say, that just have crappy internet or can't get good internet. And Microsoft's vision, which I think is actually some of the ideas were a good vision for console. It was just too soon.
Sure.
They were jumping the gun for sure.
Sure, and I can understand their perspective of looking at how many millions of people play PC games and, you know, play on the PC and stuff like that. But, you know, it's not the same. It's not as simple. So let's move on. I don't know what. Sorry, I'm reading something from the Twitch chat about a notice on Steam announcing the Rated M for podcast. Oh, okay. Yeah, we have a lot of things going on as we kind of transition into our topics for tonight, which we're probably going to have to compress a little bit. I do want to say real quick, we're expanding. We're putting out communities into games, and we have a Steam community. Rated M for podcast has a Steam community. We have a guild that we just threw up on WoW. If you want to be on Kill Jaden's server on Horde side, we have a Rated M for Podcast guild. We put up a Diablo 3 Rated M for Podcast clan. Go join us over there. We just started our GTA 5 crew, so we're in GTA Online. Look us up there and join us. If you have a server or a guild or a clan or a group or a league or a thing that you want to associate with Rated M for Podcast and get people to join and get the community together on, let us know in Facebook. So hit us up at facebook.com/groups/ratedmpodcast. And we're just trying to, you know, get everybody together that listens to the show and wants to be part of the community. We have a really cool community here. We got people like our Bubble Boy, Esteban. We got our buddy Bill that was on a couple weeks ago. We got some good guys here, so we just want everybody to get together. So why don't we discuss Gamescom, and then I think that'll be it for the show. Gamescom is next week. You said it was on the 12th, right?
12th
Coming
is
up
the
quick.
first day.
12th what now?
The 12th is the first day.
Okay, so Gamescom is, if you don't know...
But we get info and conferences before the 12th.
Oh, that's true.
Yeah, but that's the 12th
okay,
is
that's
the day
when
of
it
the press
opens.
conferences, and then it's gonna be the show.
Yeah, we'll probably
We'll
get
get all our
stuff all week,
information
though. Yeah,
probably on
we'll
the
start
12th.
getting... Like, we got E3 trailers for E3, like, the week before E3 even started and stuff like that. So, yeah, I think we're going to start getting some news this coming week. So why don't we talk about what we'd like to see? Esteban, do you know much about what's going to be at Gamescom? And if not, you know, what do you want to see anyways?
I want to see more of The Division, more Rainbow Six.
Yes.
And then also, might be the only one here, but I want to see Amplitude or a new Rock Band game announced.
Oh yeah. There's rumor that's, well, I don't even know if it's rumor anymore. I think it was announced, right, that they're actually working on something that they want to put out there. Yeah, that would be
for Rock
interesting.
Band, yeah.
Go ahead, man. Go ahead.
Oh, just saying, I want to see more Amplitude. I backed it on Kickstarter. I put $40 down. I put $40 down, which I get the game.
That's awesome.
I get the game 2 weeks early, and I get my name in the credits.
Yeah.
But, yeah, I'm a huge fan.
Were you a big fan of the first? Okay, yeah, you're just about to say that.
No. I've never played Amplitude, but I'm a big fan of rhythm games, so I want to give it a try.
Cool.
Yeah. Cool. So, anything else?
Hopefully they announce Fallout 4 or a new Splinter Cell.
Jesus Christ.
Fallout 4, yeah.
All right, so Rory, what are you looking for, man?
Well, from what I know is going to be there, I am really excited to see more Quantum Break. Remedy's going to be there showing off the game. They've tweeted out and teased that people better, be ready to pick their jaw off the floor. I'm paraphrasing, but I'm really excited to see more of that game. I'm a big fan of Remedy, liked everything they've made, and I'm hoping they're going to have a winner on their hands. For stuff that hasn't been announced, wishful thinking, I don't know, like Microsoft's teasing that everybody should tune in because they've got some big surprises, but Microsoft has said things like that before, and then we've gotten the Fighter Within reveal. So I'm not quite sure like how excited I should be, but I'm gonna stay positive as I like to do. And wishful thinking is maybe we see, I don't know, maybe they do tell us that Banjo-Kazooie exists. I'm gonna keep riding this forever, like some people do with Fallout and such, but I'd like to see Banjo-Kazooie announced for Xbox One, like a proper platformer. And I guess that's it right now, off the top of my head. I felt like I had something else, but I'm not sure, so I'll let Sean go.
All right, so before Sean goes and before I go, I'd like to ask the Twitch chat, what are you looking forward to at Gamescom? What are you excited for the most? What do you want to see? I'm going to read some of the stuff that people have said so far. I'm going to give people a chance to say something. I'll read it off after we talk. I think people are looking for Red Dead Redemption 2. That's not going to happen.
I'm going to shit on your Cheerios.
Somebody said Red Dead 3.
Happen.
Well, the game is going to happen, but we're not going to see it at Gamescom.
I think somebody mentioned Red Dead 2, and then somebody corrected them that Red Dead 3. That's actually true. This would be the third Red Dead game, because Red Dead Revolver exists. And
very few people played that one.
It was not very good, was it? I don't remember.
No, it was good. It just wasn't. It wasn't an open world game. It was much more linear.
I'm going to scroll up and script the chat. So let's see. More Quantum Break. More Fallout 4, and Fallout 4, and fuck off, Drew. Okay, thanks, lady. Appreciate that. So let's get back to talking about what we want to see. Sean, what are you looking forward to at Gamescom, buddy?
Similar, but unlike Rory, I'm looking forward to seeing more about Quantum Break. It's the only Xbox exclusive that has any hooks in me whatsoever, and right now it's just kind of like a curious. They are a 2 for 3 studio with me. I thought Alan Wake was terrible, but I love the first 2.
Really?
It's a terrible game. You walk around the woods with a terrible flashlight.
I
all right, go on.
Terrible.
All right.
Anyway,
go on.
But I like the first 2 Max Payne, so I'm hoping that they're going to go more towards the good games that they made, and not the last crappy one they made.
Okay.
I'm looking forward.
I'm not getting a Max Payne vibe from Quantum Break. Just saying.
No, but not necessarily. But like quality.
I understand.
Like,
yeah,
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Then the other game I'm really excited to see Call of Duty multiplayer for Advanced Warfare.
That's right. That'll be
the trailer came live last week for the story, and then right after the name, they had like a really brief thing where like the guy was running and then he jumped in the air, flew backwards behind him, and landed and shot him, and it was just like, and that was from the multiplayer. So that just seems like it's going to be this off the wall, like different thing for Call of Duty finally. That I'm really looking forward to, and
Can you jump in Call of Duty?
Yeah.
You can jump in Call of Duty,
button?
but just not jump it that high. You know what I mean? It's just like
okay.
But yeah, so I'm looking forward to that. I'm looking forward to and my wishful thinking wish is probably something from Bethesda, but I feel like Bethesda's kind of put their flag planted their flag saying you're not going to see anything about Fallout this year. So I don't think we're going to really see anything from Fallout until whatever form the VGX takes this year. Since that seems to change from year to year.
Yeah, that's a big question mark for me this year. I think it'd be a good year or a good place for it, but yeah.
Really hope Sony has something for Uncharted 4.
That would be good. Yeah, that'd be a good place for it. Sony's huge in Europe, so that is a good place to kind of for Xbox to put the hype up and then get out there and be like, yeah, guys, this is what we got. Here's some more Quantum Break, and everybody goes, okay, what's the other thing you got up your sleeve? And they're like, nope, this is it, Quantum Break. And then Sony comes out and says, oh, by the way, here's Uncharted 4 gameplay. And you're just like, holy shit.
Also, Guerrilla Games is supposedly going to show their game at
their new one
too. Yeah.
That'd be cool.
Is this the one that's supposed to be like open world RPG kind of thing?
sci-fi, right?
I'm hoping it's an
Probably
open world
sci-fi.
RPG. I'm hoping it's an open world sci-fi RPG.
Yeah.
As much as I like fantasy games, I feel like.
Well, I would think
Bethesda has that.
I think a Guerrilla Games fantasy thing would be weird, in my opinion.
Well, no, I don't disagree, but like I hope it's a good futuristic, cool sci-fi RPG, open world.
Okay.
What about the Master Chief Collection, Sean?
What's that?
The Master Chief Collection.
So next.
Yeah. Well, I'm excited for the Master Chief Collection. No, there was a statement from Microsoft or something like that earlier this week that said that, oh man, we got some shit for you guys. Wait till Gamescom. Holy crap! Like a bit of a hype builder. I think it was a tweet or something.
Yeah.
They stuck their foot out there saying like, no, we got you guys. Pay attention to Gamescom. We're gonna have something. So I'm hoping that there is a new IP. I doubt it will be a new IP, and if it is a new IP, I'm sure it won't be like, here's the next Gears of War or whatever. But I think that Microsoft's going to do something a little sideways at Gamescom, not like an E3, like, you know, tear down the walls and like bust through your door. Oh yeah, you know, like just really like rub it in your face. Oh yeah, here's the Xbox. But I think it'll be something interesting. Which is what you always got to do in Europe. Europe likes weird shit. Like Europe likes weird games. They don't really like the tried and true, like boring, you know, get Space Marine running around type stuff. They tend to skew towards odd stuff. So that's why I think it's fitting that Quantum Break is being like showed off at Gamescom as opposed to, you know, using it at E3. Mm-hmm. And I think Quantum Break's probably in better shape than we even can imagine. I think that they left Quantum Break off of the E3 playlist because they wanted something to stick around. They wanted something big that they could show at Gamescom, and I think this is where people are going to see it and be like, oh, so that's what this game is. I think this is the moment for that. Yeah. We might even get like a release window, maybe.
Maybe. You know what I thought you were going to call out? Halo 5 multiplayer being shown because it's coming in the...
Yeah, I think they've already said that they're doing that, right?
Is it though? Like
no. They're showing more. No, they're showing more Master Chief Collection.
I know, but you don't think they'll give us just like a tease of like gameplay glimpse of the
I think
beta?
The first time you see
it's because you get access to the multiplayer you get the Halo. Oh wait, never mind. I was thinking when Master Chief Collection comes out, you would immediately be able to play.
You get
into a beta of the Halo 5 multiplayer.
You get the Halo 5 multiplayer beta early. But you don't get it Master Chief Collection in December. It starts December 27th. It runs through like January 22nd or something like that.
Okay, so the beta is fairly early then.
Yes.
So then I wouldn't be surprised.
I think that'll be the
first
time
little thing where we see a video clip where it's like, all right, let's see.
Well, we just had San Diego Comic-Con, and at San Diego Comic-Con, the words Halo 5 were maybe said like twice. It was all about Nightfall. It was all about the Master Chief Collection, specifically Halo 2 Anniversary. We had San Diego Comic-Con like a week or two ago, and then a couple weeks before that was RTX, and that was all about Halo 2 Anniversary. So I think this is where people might get their hands on Halo 2 Anniversary, get to play it, do some rounds. I think they're going to continue to push that, maybe show like a whole freaking mission, like a whole campaign section just to show what the campaign looks like from start to finish. On a chapter or something like that.
Okay, I'll make one of my wild predictions like I did with when we did our E3 predictions, and I will predict that we see, even if it's only 10-second sizzle reel, thing at the very end of some sort of Halo thing.
So you're saying
we see a sizzle reel of Halo 5's multiplayer beta, just like whoa, even if it's like a flash of it.
Just to clarify,
a couple frames.
What we've seen so far was a blur. Like teaser trailer of Halo 5 Guardians multiplayer. We haven't seen a single frame of the actual thing. So you're talking about like them actually lifting
like from
the veil on what they have. Like, do you even think the beta exists right now? The Halo 5
I don't
beta?
know. That's why it sounds crazy. I know. That's why it's one of these wild, crazy high predictions.
That's what gets our crazy Canadian
there's
smoking that wacky weed up BC Bud.
Gamescom. It's highly unlikely. It's nearly 100% improbable.
Okay.
But I'm going to make that wild, crazy prediction.
Alrighty. Looks like Bill in the chat is agreeing with you, so you and Bill owe me like 50 push-ups if you don't if you get it wrong. Anyways,
I can
why don't
probably
we talk
do
about
5.
That's your prediction. Why don't we talk about predictions real quick before we start wrapping up the show? Sean, you talked about what you want to see. Do you have any predictions? Any kind of like, man, it would be crazy if this happened. This is technically possible, or something like that. God of War
for everyone. No, you know what? I think Sony's kind of done with God of War. I think they if I remember correctly, I read a couple of weeks ago that somebody in Santa Monica said that they want, when they changed their logo or whatever, they re-debuted their new logo, and said that they wanted to move on from what Santa Monica was in the past. And if you're making a God of War game, then you're sending a mixed message. So I don't think they're gonna do that.
Could somebody else make a God of War game?
I'm sure they could, but I don't. I mean, it's the same thing with People Can Fly making a Gears of War game. Are you really excited about anybody but the people who made it?
That's true.
Well,
didn't People Can Fly make a
Bulletstorm and Gears of War Judgment though?
Yeah.
Yeah, they made
nobody
Judgment.
really liked that.
Yeah. So I don't know. I think my biggest prediction is kind of like what I had said earlier. I think we're going to see more of Uncharted 4.
Okay. Gameplay? Trailer?
Yeah, we have to see gameplay.
Okay.
They already showed us the trailer.
So gameplay is going to be at Gamescom. Esteban, what's your prediction, buddy?
Besides Fallout 4, I think one of the I think Sony or Microsoft is either going to announce a remastered collection, either Gears of War or Uncharted.
Okay. I might stick with that theme. I think my prediction would be EA confirms a Mass Effect thing this year, a collection this year, and maybe it comes out in November or something.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, that's possible. I know that there was a rumor leak thing earlier in the year about that, and honestly, I feel like that would be a smart move for them to buy time for Mass Effect to come back, but still keep Mass Effect in people's minds. And I know that gamers are always thinking about Mass Effect day and night, but the rest of the world, like when Mass Effect 3 came out and ended and stuff, like everybody was like, okay, cool, that was fun. So to tease like a Mass Effect collection would be simple. That would be easy enough. Like, why not do that?
I think it'll be pretty smart if they release all the games on the current gen systems and then somehow make it where some of the decisions you made in the games carry over to the new one.
I don't see that happening, but I think it'd be possible, I guess. They're doing that with Dragon Age Inquisition, where you go online and basically say like what you did with the previous Dragon Age games.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
So that's possible. So what else we got? So some things that people are predicting in the chat would be seeing Telltale's Game of Thrones game. I think that's smart. That would be interesting. Somebody suggested that the EA Access situation should be a way that people get the remaster of Mass Effect series. That would be interesting. Call of Duty Remastered Edition. I think we're getting that this year, right? We're getting that though. We're getting that with
no.
What?
I would buy the Call of Duty's campaign remastered, because I really like the campaigns for Call of Duty 4 and Modern Warfare 2 and 3. I thought the campaigns were pretty good.
Yeah.
But yeah, I would buy the remastered.
All right, so real quick, we got a little more time, and I wanted to try to squeeze this in if we had time. And I feel like we've talked a bit about Gamescom enough, unless anybody has like something up their sleeve about Gamescom. Going once, going twice.
No.
Sold. So I would like to talk about why we play video games. Why are we here? What does it all mean? It's our 20th episode, so as a bit of a treat, I'd like to just kind of share with everybody, how we feel about video games, why we're into them so damn much, and then maybe hear what they think about video games. We have a really diverse crowd of listeners. We have girls, boys, men, women, children, dogs, rabbits, cats, spider monkeys, and bubble boys, and everybody has a different reason to play and a different outlook on video games. So I just wanted to kind of dive into that. And then we're going to pick a random person out of the Twitch chat, and they're going to get a Steam copy of Just Cause 2. So, Rory, why do you play video games, and why are they so awesome?
Why do you do anything, right? Because you love it. I
That's
couldn't tell you what it is.
Taxes.
It's like
that's absolutely not true.
That's not why I pay taxes.
That I don't love at all.
Nope. That's not why I don't smoke pot.
I don't really do much that I don't love, even when it comes to work.
Well, that's
sort
good,
of like,
man. That's a good way to live.
If I don't like the job, then I will go find another job. But I get that not everybody's in that situation. So
no, that's
anyway,
true.
Moving on. I couldn't pinpoint what it is. Like, I love stories, and I love being able to interact with stories in the way that video games allow me to do, and take part in joining this universe and controlling a virtual me, or, you know, like if I'm playing an RPG and just getting immersed, or taking on the role of some other character. I just really enjoy it. Like, I had an Atari at home when I was really young, too young to appreciate video games. And then I got an NES in around 86, I believe. I was, 4 or 5 years old, and played Super Mario Brothers and Duck Hunt, got the combo, and that was it. Like, from that moment on, that Christmas morning playing Super Mario Brothers, I was hooked, and I've just continued to play and love video games in the same way that I love watching great movies and stuff. It's the art that I like to absorb. I like to get lost in new worlds. And I fucking love video games.
It's just it's a source of entertainment for you.
It's and it means more to me than just a source of entertainment as well. Like, it's hard to explain, but I love everything that there is about video games. Like, not just playing them. I love meeting up with you guys on Sundays and talking about them. I love twitching and streaming stuff. I just love the world of video games, and that's all there is to it, man. It makes me feel warm and fuzzy inside. Video games.
Video games. Bitch games. All right, Sean. Lay it on me, brother. What are you doing here? Why are you here?
I didn't know I was going to have to answer an existential question.
I know.
No, honestly, like, kind of like Rory, like, I just always have had attraction to them from starting in the arcades, and then I could bring the arcade to my house with the Atari and the NES, and it's like, I like the way they're progressing. Like, if someone would have told me when I played Mario Brothers that, in 20 years you're going to play this game that, is about the zombie apocalypse and these two survivors that, find each other, and there's this really great emotional human story being told, I wouldn't have believed it, because I wouldn't have been able to imagine it. But here we are talking about a game that came out last year that we're playing again, The Last of Us, it's just brilliant. Like, I get so immersed in the story, and they've honed the craft so well. I mean, even if you told me Resident Evil, when I played Resident Evil, hey, don't worry, the voice acting this is terrible, but it's gonna get good, and like, it's just every step is like a progress and going forward. That's why I'm not very much into retro gaming or games that take on a retro look. It's because I like the way it's progressing and moving forward. It's like the same thing with movies. I love Star Wars. I love Casablanca and stuff like that, but I also love that now I can see robots fight each other and it looks real. Like, I like being transported to that place that only technology and stuff like that can do. And
I agree. I think we're literally living in science fiction today. If you go back like 30 years, 40 years, and you say like, oh, I got a phone on my hand, and it like tells me what time it is and like who wants to talk to me, and I just can connect to them immediately. And
here's a funny like aside. I had a picture. I posted a picture on my Facebook page, and from 1995, I think it is. It's like you have a cell phone, like a giant walkie-talkie size fucking Zach Morris cell phone.
Yeah.
A Polaroid camera, a beeper, like all this stuff, and then they show now, and it's just a picture of an iPhone, and like, that's just what I love about technology, like that it's always advancing and always making things better and more improved and stuff like that. And like I said, like, just being able to get into these stories, like, and just be so immersed in it and just have fun with it. And it's like, I mean, if you think about it, we're like wirelessly, like, it went from like one button and a joystick to now we have 10 buttons wirelessly sending inputs to a screen and doing the thing
with no lag
that we want to do.
Happens.
Yeah, it's just it's super impressive, and I like that it's progressing, and we're getting more photorealistic graphics, and the storytelling in video games has gotten exponentially better in such a small amount of time.
So,
so it's just
so you're saying that like for you, video games is you like to connect to the tech and like the wonder of it all, and like how impressive it is every year, and how it gets better and better, and just engrosses you more and more.
That's part of it, but if I didn't have, I could be impressed with the tech, but if I'm not connecting to it in a way that it matters, then it's just impressive tech. There, you know what I mean? It's just the fact that I've always enjoyed video games, and I love the way it's progressing, and being able to tell good stories, being able to have good performances from people like Troy Baker.
I lost you, Troy Baker.
And Nolan North. Sorry, my dog is barking.
Yeah, that's okay.
You know what I mean? Troy Baker, Nolan North, people like this who I think give performances that are award worthy, you know, and that's kind of something that I'm looking forward to seeing too. Like, I'm looking forward to seeing the VGX not be the joke that it is. I want an actual televised award show that people care about. You know what I mean?
I think a lot of, if you listen to them being, most of the people in the gaming industry, every time award season comes around, it feels really clunky and awkward because there's so many random award, like, Machinima has their own award show and like all this. It's so weird. And, the developers and the actors and everybody involved will tell you, like, they don't, there's no reason. It's all pomp and circumstances. But I think that the fans and the communities that get built up around things like Minecraft, or, the amount of love that was felt for something like Journey, and like the wonder and awe at how amazing Skyrim really was when it came out and just blew people's minds and stuff like that. We want to see people get recognized because we feel like we want them to know that we really care and we think that it's great and stuff. And even though we're not involved in the voting process and stuff like that, it just feels good to see someone that you really admire and you really appreciate their work get recognized publicly. And you're there, you get to see it. You're like, okay, now I know that everyone saw that, man, that was the game, or this was the performance, and holy shit, Troy Baker is a god, and all that stuff. You know what I mean? So I think that it is true that a lot of people want to see stuff like that, but I think we're still at the crawling stage to figure out how that's going to work for this medium. Okay, so Esteban, why you like video games so much, bro?
Gameplay.
He's a robot.
Gameplay. Okay, yeah.
Gameplay.
Input and output.
Moving on.
Exclamation mark.
Yeah, it's pretty much just. I started, just playing because the gameplay was fun. Because I remember being a little kid and playing games like Resident Evil and Siphon Filter and not knowing what was going on in the story, but I just kept playing because it was fun. But yeah, even to this day, to me, gameplay is king.
Okay. So all right, I'm going to talk a little bit about why I love video games so much. This is the point where I want everybody to share what they love about video games and why. Even though I know you guys have been sharing stuff already, go ahead and retype it again or whatever. And I'm just going to pick somebody. And you going to win some Just Cause 2, yo. I hope you have Steam. It's going to be hard for you to play it if you don't.
How are people winning? What did you just tell them to do?
They're going to share why they like video games so much. Why they love it.
It's going to be a popularity contest.
It's just going to be me randomly picking some people, picking somebody. So I love video games because there's so much potential there. Like, we've already seen video games come a long way, but I think there's so much potential in a form of entertainment, in a form of interactive medium. There's more you can do with video games than you could ever do with a book or a movie or a soundtrack or a painting or even art on stage, or because you have this interactivity, because the observer gets invested in the act, even if it's a little bit. If you look at stuff like Journey or The Walking Dead, or hell, even what was the one last year? The Stanley Parable, just simple situations. You get so invested in that just by the little bit of input that you put into the situation. And then you take that to situations like Minecraft, where there is no feedback other than what you do. Like, everything you do causes something in that world. You can build a mountain, or you can tear it all down and just have this fiery pit. And you're the person making that happen. And so no movie is ever going to recreate the feeling of Minecraft. It's just impossible. So I love the medium as a whole because of the potential there. And for me personally, coming out of the military, and I take concepts of leadership and kind of like setting examples and doing the right thing and guiding people, educating people, and just kind of building people up. I take that all very, very seriously. And I think that video games can be a way to help educate people and help lead people and make better leaders. And I think that it's just video games as a whole, as we get better and better games and more people get more experience of making higher quality products, you're going to see like just this people as a whole become better for it. I think video games are able to improve a person, much like other things are, but I think that the potential for video games to improve someone is much greater than a book can. You know, you can read an inspirational book or, you know, hear a really inspiring song and get it, you know, and get pumped up to do something, to go take on the world or whatever. But if you play a game and you get invested in that game and that game's outcome is resulting in you really feeling like you've learned something or you've grown as a person or now you have some like perspective, I think that's something that no other medium can do. And I think that we're on the verge of really seeing that become more of the norm. And I think I just think it's really special because of that. And then also, you know, it's just got so much more of an emotional weight to it. You know, I've cried my fucking eyes out at the end of Halo 4. I just don't think that would ever happen if I was watching a bunch of movies and like the character in the movie, like, yeah, I'm going to be sad if I watched a movie where, you know, a certain person died. But if I was there as the player, you know what I mean? And I was, you know, there to try to save them or there that could make this happen. I was the cause for it or something like that. You get that emotional investment that's just impossible to replicate any other way. So that's what's up. I think we lost Sean during that chat, which was cool.
Yeah. Did he say goodbye?
He did. He did
in the chat.
He said goodbye in the chat,
Yeah.
but everyone's saying goodbye to him, and now I got to go back and see what people said. VGX sucks. I hate my dog. Let's see here.
My dog is rummaging away here. It's ready for some dinner. I got to bail shortly too. So.
All right. I got one. I love video games because of gameplay, the immersion, the escape to another world, and completely different reality. So escapism is a very big thing. I could be a young knight slaying dragons, or go to outer space and fight aliens. Nothing else like it anywhere. And I think that's very true. You know, that video games get their escapism more so than like movies or music or something like that. Like, you know, before video games, the way you escaped was going to the theater or watching TV. And now with video games, you can escape in a way that is just, it's not impossible, or it's not possible.
Who said that?
That would be Bill. Yeah. I liked Bill's thing. So congratulations, Bill. Clappy claps.
Slow.
Yes, William.
Slow clap for Bill. We're going to send Bill a code for Just Cause 2 on Steam. Let's see. I want to go back and see if there was anything else that anybody said. No? All right, cool. So that was the show, guys. Thank you so much for tuning in. We love you all. You are all the shit. I kind of wanted to stick around after and chat with some people. So let me cue up our Exant music. And Rory, why don't you vent for me a little bit? Tell me what's up on your stream next.
I don't have anything planned for next week, but I'm always there, and there will be something happening. And if you don't know already, I stream every Tuesday night, 8:30 p.m. Pacific. I usually have a friend over and/or a guest, a proper guest to interview, and it's just for fun. It's just to entertain people like you guys. And I give free shit away every Tuesday night as well. So come check that out on Twitch. You can find me under Red Eye Games Live. I'm in the Twitch chat there. You can click on my name. And check me out on Twitter at the same thing, at Red Eye Games Live. And we can chit-chat there.
Click on it, guys. Go for it.
Click on it.
What about you, Esteban? Are people going to find you doing stuff?
No.
Well, all right. So you guys have your stuff going on. I'm curious if people can watch the games or no.
Usually Timothy Welsh, he streams it. But yeah, you can go to his. I don't know if it's archived on his thing, but I don't know his profile.
Cool. Fun. All right. Well, thanks, guys. It's time for us to get out of here. So we will see you next week.
Thanks, everybody.
Later, guys. Thank you for having me.
Shut up.
Alrighty.
All right, we're off air.
No.
Oh. Well, what's up, everybody?
Hey,
this
everybody.
is off air, Rory.
Oh, geez, that's your actual voice.
This is my actual voice.
Oh my God.
Hey.